Hello everyone, this is Ty with Spicy Exotics. Today's March 18th. We just took the greenhouse covers off and I wanted to show you a little of activity that had happened in previous videos and show you the progress. I'm going to walk through each of these containers is a different variety of dragon fruit, and I'll mention some of them along the way. First is one of my oldest plants here. It's a physical graffiti. It needs a haircut pretty bad. We'll be doing that in the next couple weeks. It should have been done already. I'm just a little behind. Next here is a Delight. It's a pink flesh variety. It's already flowered this year, but it was real early in the season and the flower did not set, so unfortunately we won't have any fruit. Right here we have a Cosmic Charlie, a Delight that has quite a bit of rust on it. We need to cut all those bad pieces off. We have a Rixford here, and then a very popular variety here. This is a Frankie's Red, and you can see here this is a Frankie's Red growing over another variety here. Going back here one step is a David Bowie, very popular white flesh variety. Slow growing, but an amazing tasting fruit, which is why it's so popular. Over here on this side's another 8-year-old plant called Halley's Comet, another slow grower. Next to it is a Condor with a ton of new growth on top. It's great, beautiful fruit, purple fleshed. Starts off with a green skin and transitions over to reddish purple. Next to it I have a Purple Haze. And finally here on the end, this was the north end of the greenhouse. It's not doing so swell. As you can see, this is a Vietnamese white. It's definitely seen its better days. We'll do a little bit of work on it, give it some new soil, and hopefully it'll bounce back for the summertime. Here on this end, we have Harpua, Thai Dragon, with a little friend there. And this is a K1 variety. I purchased this variety online. I truly believe it to be just a Vietnamese white. I'm waiting for the fruit to get on the larger side of things. We'll transition over to this greenhouse here. This is my original greenhouse, and here on the north end we have a Ben Ho Red with a fruit. One of the interesting things that happened with Ben Ho Red is I had a few flower buds. So what I thought was a flower bud, this very cutting here, you can see here closer in, it has a really strange round look. It looked identical to a flower bud, and it seemed to have transitioned into a stem. So that was pretty unique. Had several other flower buds on it, and they all fell off. We can maybe get a close-up here. I'll pinpoint this. This is an old flower bud here that never really made it. But we do have a yummy flower, or yummy fruit that is here, that's set. It was the only flower. I used its own pollen, so it is self-pollinating. A few more varieties here. Not much activity happening other than lots of green growth. This is Lake Atitlan Red. Then over on this side we have a Thompson variety with a Macasupa next to it. And this is a Natural Mystic. Typically this variety is pretty aggressive. Once again, I hadn't trimmed it. I have another little friend here. And this is one of my favorites, just because it's such a healthy grower. This is Helosirius costaricensis. It's not self-pollinating, but I did use pollen from another variety. This was on a previous YouTube video. As you can see, the pollen that I use from a Rediana managed to set fruit on this variety. This variety is a Bruni. It's a very popular seller. Makes small fruits that weigh about 1/2 to 3/4 of a pound. White flesh, green skin. Brix average 20 to 22. It does have a different taste to the fruit, but it also has an incredible sweetness with it, which makes it sought after. Here we have a Rediana, and it too has set fruit. In fact, we have 2 fruit on it. These flower buds emerged in February, but we've had some interesting weather over the last few months that have really slowed the process down to the fruit typically yielding within its 40-day period. So I'm curious to know exactly what the fruit will taste like, if it'll be as good as it's supposed to. Next here we have a white sapphire. And this is a Zamorano variety. It is native to Honduras, and it was the first variety this year to set flower, which was late January. And we have 2 fruit that's set from the flowering. It produced about 4 or 5 flowers. I did a poor job making sure it was self-pollinating because they were covered, had less activity, and it was a little cold. We have another little friend hanging out in here. This variety is a Voodoo Child. Typically a very heavy producer. Should be expecting some flower buds sometime this month. This is a Guatemalan variety. Very aggressive grower, as you can see. And in less than 1 week, these vines have already reached the top and found their way around the greenhouse frame. This is a new variety that I collected in Maui called Hana. It makes a wonderful white-fleshed fruit. However, the stems of this particular variety really doesn't compare to any other white-fleshed variety. Flower's awfully beautiful. It has an amazing pink blush in the inside of the white of the flower. Makes it very unique. Here's another Bruni variety. One of the few plants I have 2 of. This is a Nicaraguan red. Looks very similar to the Guatemalan species. This is a Soul Kitchen, another white flesh variety with a neon next to it. Small white flesh variety, very similar to Voodoo Chow. And you can see here on this particular variety, which is another variety I collected in Hawaii. I call it Maui Dragon. It's quite different. It hasn't yet set fruit. We haven't sold any of these varieties, but I placed it in the greenhouse a little too soon and it burnt a lot of the flesh on it. So you live and you learn. Here's one of my oldest varieties here. This is American Beauty. It has bounced back from a few years ago. The plant was nearly dead. We removed all the soil, placed a few new cuttings in, and it bounced back and has already set fruit a few times. This is a G2, another one of the Guatemalan series that was collected by Paul Thompson. This is a Mexicana, a white flesh variety, native to Mexico. And lastly here, this is a Connie Mayer. It has not set fruit yet, but it's said to have fruit very similar to the Bruni variety, which is a close cousin. Thank you for watching.